Hello there. Welcome to Just the Dis. My name is Brian, and we talk about Blu-rays here. And I'm going to get into this. I got the latest package from Vinegar Syndrome and their sister labels, their partner labels. And I'm going to there's a lot of these I haven't seen, so I'm just going to kind of be showing you what's in the package and some stuff that you could potentially be getting from Vinegar Syndrome and their partners for the month of September. I'm going to start with the one I'm most excited about, and this is from Fun City Editions. Definitely my favorite Vinegar Syndrome partner label, run by my friend Jonathan Hertzberg, and this is their first box set. As you can see, it's Primetime Panic. This is all TV movies, I believe. And some really interesting stuff here. Only one that I had seen previously and one that I got a chance to check out last night. So I've gone ahead and opened everything and flipped the artwork and stuff. God, I love these boxes. Okay. So that's the backside artwork of this wonderful box. You know, the kind that Vinegar Syndrome does for their boxes. I love it. So let's start with Dreams Don't Die. This is from 1982, and it stars Ike Eisenman, who you may recognize from things like Escape to Witch Mountain. He is one of the brother and sister duo with special powers in both of the Witch Mountain movies, and he's a little older, obviously, in this. And, of course, we have Trini Alvarado, who is from things like Times Square, which I hope is still coming to Blu-ray from Kino. I know it had been announced a while back. It's a great little cult movie. And, of course, Paul Winfield is here. There's also, I'm trying to think of the rest of the cast. There's definitely some other folks in here that you'll recognize. But here's what the inside looks like, and the alt artwork. Yeah, this one was really cool. Really neat little discovery. This I got to watch last night. It sort of centers around a couple kids in New York City, played by Ike Eisenman and Trini Alvarado. They're sort of a couple. They're, I believe, in high school or late high school. I don't know. And he is a graffiti artist known as the King. He has his own tag. It's King65, and at the beginning of the movie, we see him tagging the subways of New York, which was very popular around that time. But he's a great graffiti artist. Like, he has a real knack. I think his drawings were done by a graffiti artist named Dondo. Don't quote me on that. But it's beautiful stuff. And so he's sort of trying to get his art out there, and he gets caught and sort of picked up by a police officer played by Paul Winfield. And by the way, Paul Winfield is just one of those actors that when you put him in your movie just kicks it up a notch. Like, he is just so darn good as an actor, and I'm such a huge fan of him, and he's really great in this movie. And so he sort of becomes a little bit of a mentor figure to the Ike Eisenman character, and wants to help him do art for pay, get a job. And so that's kind of neat. The other side of it is Trini Alvarado's character also kind of wants to get out of the area of New York that they're living in, and she ends up sort of hooking up with this guy named Kirk, and he is played by, I'm going to forget the actor's name, but he played Freddie Fernandez in Karate Kid. You'll definitely recognize him. And he's sort of a kid who's dealing drugs to mostly adults, apparently, but he's got like this sweet hookup. He has a limo he drives around in, and he's trying to sort of rope her into helping him sell drugs to adults, not kids, I guess. He likes to differentiate between the two. And she sort of buys into it for a little while and is looking to make some money and try and get out. So then there's sort of a conflict between him and Ike, and it's, it gets a little heated, but it's a really neat little character study, and I really dug it. And I love the idea of characters that are, a character that's a graffiti artist, and that being sort of part of the story. And it's written by, the same guy who wrote Scarecrow, Gary Michael White, I think his name is. And so that's kind of cool. I just love Scarecrow with Gene Hackman and Al Pacino, and this is a connective movie in that way. It's written by the same guy. And I really dug this, really enjoyed it. This is, of course, as is the tradition with Fun City, it's a new 4K restoration from its 35mm original camera negative. There is a new booklet essay. I don't have that in here. With an essay by Justin LaLiberty, and newly recorded audio commentary by graffiti historian Dino Prosperio, and of course Fun City Editions' Jonathan Hertzberg. Dino is a really neat guy, a guy that I met when he and Jonathan came out to LA earlier this year, and I'm a big fan of his. He is part of a podcast called I Eat Movies, which I highly recommend. It's just him and this gentleman, Mike Kenny, and they are always picking up and talking about obscure gems, and I'm just a big fan of I Eat Movies. So anyway, Dino and Jonathan on a commentary, excellent. I was totally digging that. So that is wonderful. So some nice features on that one. Next up, we have Death Ride to Osaka, which goes by some other titles. I want to say like Girls of the White Lotus. And this one is interesting because it's a TV movie done by the great Jonathan Kaplan, who did stuff like Truck Turner, and he did, Night Duty Nurses. He did White Line Fever. Just a real great, Over the Edge is his masterpiece. And he is just a filmmaker I love. And so this is one I'd never even realized he had done. And it stars Jennifer Jason Leigh, and the idea is that she's a Los Angeles waitress who longs to have a career as a singer, and when she answers an ad seeking girls, singers, and dancers, she's immediately hired to work at a nightclub in Tokyo, and it sort of turns into a sex trafficking, prostitution kind of thing, and it gets dark. But I haven't had a chance to watch this one yet, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I did have a look, however, at the Back to the White Orchid, a newly filmed interview with director Jonathan Kaplan, and that's about 45 minutes, and it's great. I just love Jonathan Kaplan. He's just such a neat dude, has so many great stories about the production of this film, and just stories about his career and how he had taken a dive after Over the Edge wasn't a really big hit. He was having trouble getting work, and how he ended up doing a bunch of TV movies, and how it ultimately helped him in his later, feature career. So great interview with him. This also has an audio commentary by film programmer Lars Nilsson, which I cannot wait to check out after I watch the movie. And then something called Finding My Own Way, which is a new video essay by the great Chris O'Neill. I always dig Chris O'Neill's video essays on Fun City Editions releases, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out as well. One thing I should say is that both of these are presented, and I think all of them, actually all three are presented with the option that you can watch them in their original 1:3:3 aspect ratios, the square TV ratio, and you can also watch them in 1:8:5, which is nice. I've been watching these in 1:8:5, and they look great. This one's also new 4K restoration from the 35 camera negative, but very cool second feature in this box. And then lastly, we have a movie called Freedom, and this one is directed by Joseph Sargent, who I think did Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, and this is one I had seen previously because Jonathan Hertzberg had called this out as a discovery on my blog, Rupert Pupkin Speaks, a year or so ago, and I checked it out based on that recommendation, and so I'm so glad he brought it out. It says acclaimed writer Barbara Turner turned her own family for inspiration in penning the heartfelt and poignant television drama Freedom. The film is based on the fraught relationship between Turner and her elder daughter Carrie Ann Morrow, who left home as a teenager to join a traveling carnival. Jennifer Warren, Night Moves and Slapshot, plays the mother, and Mare Winningham plays her daughter. This is kind of based on Jennifer Jason Leigh as well. Like, Carrie Ann Morrow was her older sister, and so there is a character that is representing Jennifer Jason Leigh in this movie. But it's a really interesting and moving story of this girl who just leaves her family and goes into this carnival, and you can see that let's see here, Peter Horton is part of the carnival, Roy Thinnes is part of the movie, Taylor Negron is part of the carnival. It's a really cool cast. Like, I really dug this. Was actually one of my favorite discoveries, I think, of last year, and I really enjoyed this a lot. It's just very moving, a great performance by Mare Winningham, and Tony Bell plays I think the stepdad, if I recall. Yeah, he's the stepdad, and it's great. It's a really good movie, and I was really impressed with it. And this is also a 35 millimeter original camera negative 4K restoration. This also has a booklet with a essay by film programmer Christina Cacioppo. And so that's in here. Very cool. Nice little booklet. Yeah, I'm very excited to dig into the features on this one because it also has newly recorded audio commentary by television historian Amanda Reyes, who's one of the great folks in terms of knowledge on TV movies. She really knows her stuff. Something called Barbara and Carrie Remembered, a newly filmed video interview with Andrea Adams, daughter of Carrie Morrow and granddaughter of Barbara Turner. So you get that as well. So a very nice first box set from Fun City Editions. I love it. Very, very excited about this. They just continue to do great work. All right, I'm going to go through the Vinegar Syndrome titles now. Next up, we have Devil's Story, which is quite notorious and is a film that I had definitely heard of previous to this, but I've never seen. I've just heard it's crazy. It's crazy town. And it says a young couple on vacation in the French countryside decide to stay the night at a spooky old castle after their car breaks down, despite being warned about the local legend of a cursed ship which crashed into the nearby cliffs. The wife ventures out into the wild, only to find herself having to fend off a Nazi-uniformed mutant, his gypsy mother, a rogue mummy, a horse possessed by the devil, and more. Without a doubt, one of the strangest horror films ever made in France. This is a French film, and boy, does that sound nuts. I am excited to check it out. And there is the mummy on the back there. And so this includes, it's newly scanned and restored in 4K from original camera negative, presented in both its French language soundtrack and English dub. Once Upon a Time, Devil Story, making of featurette with a cast and crew. Once Upon a Time, Bernard, brand new interview with writer-director Bernard Lenoir, and select scene commentaries with him, as well as French TV coverage in the trailer. This is a big deal. This is a cult film that a lot of people have been waiting for. I remember my friend Phil Blankenship has been talking about this movie for years, and so when I saw it was announced, I thought of him immediately, and I know it's going to be a wild good time. Next up, we have Shallow Grave. This is not the one you're thinking of. This is a different movie. This one is from 1984. And I love that this is the alt artwork here, which reminds me very much of Road Games. It's like they sort of flipped the girl over and did the same kind of thing as Road Games, which is interesting. It says 4 college co-eds on their way to Florida for spring break. While passing through a small Georgia town, they unwittingly witness the murder of a woman, but when they discover the assailant is the local sheriff, they're forced on the run from a cunning and deranged sociopath who will stop at nothing to cover up his crime. After trapping the girls in town overnight, he devises a plan to permanently eliminate any potential witnesses and begins to terrorize and murder the girls one by one. Heavy-duty stuff and kind of a subgenre into itself. I mean, there's the, bad news, backwoods Southern sheriff kind of movie, but there's also the bad news, backwoods Southern sheriff who's committed a murder that you witnessed kind of movie. And I'm thinking of oh boy, there's a Batham County. I'm blanking on the full name of the damn TV movie. But anyway, it sounds like one of those, and it sounds very interesting, and I've never seen it. And this includes, of course, it's newly scanned and restored in 2K from the 35mm vault elements, not the OCN. Brand new commentary track with director Richard Stiles. Commentary track with Hysteria Continues. Looking for Magic, an interview with director Richard Stiles. A visual storyteller, an interview with writer-producer George Edward Fernandez. And so forth. That's all region. As I believe is Devil's Story. Just going to double check. Yes, that's all region. Next up, we have Blades. Very interesting. This one I've heard of, but I've not seen. And it says the Tallgrass Country Club offers its members a luxury getaway with all the best in sports and relaxation. But when a mangled body is discovered on the club's prize golf course right before a nationally televised tournament, panic ensues at the possibility of a killer on the loose, and even worse, the death might cause some bad press. Enlisting the expertise of Roy, a has-been golf pro, along with a disgruntled pro hopeful Kelly, to unmask the culprit behind the carnage, the club's hard-nosed owner soon finds himself with even bigger problems when additional victims begin to turn up, and all signs point to the killer being an out-of-control, bloodthirsty lawnmower. A highly original send-up of Jaws from the makers of Girls' School Screamers, which came out last month. Thomas R. Rondinella's Blades is a goofy, gory, and more than a little bit absurd. And this one, newly scanned and restored in 2K from original OCN. Commentary track with director Thomas R. Rodinella and writer William R. Pace. Forewarning, a making-of documentary featuring interviews with the cast and crew, etc. And this one is also all region. So that's Blades from 1989. Again, that's one I feel like I saw in VHS covers in horror sections as a young person, but never watched. Here we have Christopher Lambert film Resurrection. That's the slip. I have flipped the artwork. Now, this is the artwork I'm most familiar with. I definitely remember seeing this also in video stores as a kid. Christopher Lambert's face half with this other monster face. And it says, "On the brink of genius is the madness of a serial killer." So this is from 1999. That's why. Yeah, it was in my latter years of my video store days, so I never got to check it out back then. But it says, jaded homicide detective John Prudhomme has been put on the case of a ruthless killer who is hunting the city of Chicago, leaving a trail of horribly mutilated and dismembered corpses, all of which are missing at least one body part, along with perversely ironic biblical quotes. After the unexpected arrival of a neurotic FBI agent named Hollingsworth, who believes he might know the identity of the assailant, the two men join forces to catch a cunning psychopath who all too conveniently seems to be a step ahead. It says the ultra-stylish hybrid of 90s cop action, murder mystery, and astonishingly gruesome slasher, Russell Mulcahy's Resurrection. Russell Mulcahy, of course, did Razorback and Highlander, I think. Ex-music video director, very stylish guy, of course, yeah. Stars cult actor, Caesar award-winning Christopher Lambert, alongside character actor Leland Orser and David Cronenberg in one of his few on-screen performances. Never released on Blu-ray, Vinegar Syndrome presents this uniquely sadistic and ultra-stylish thriller in a brand new restoration. That restoration is from a newly scanned and restored in 2K from its 35mm inner positive, and it has a cathartic experience, an interview with director Russell Mulcahy, terrifyingly hilarious, an interview with actor Robert Joy, on the same page, an interview with actor Jonathan Potts, over the top, an interview with composer Jim McGrath. So I guess they weren't able to talk to Lambert, but nonetheless, intrigued by this one, always kind of been interested to check it out, and now I will. So that is Resurrection. That is all for the Vinegar Syndrome specific titles. Now we're going to talk about the partner labels. And we'll start with one that is quite notorious. The WNF Halloween Special, which comes in this nice slip case, which makes it look like an old VHS tape, taped off TV. And I like that they even have like a warning on the back that's talking about, like this VHS tape is from the date of original purchase retail, blah, blah, blah. It really looks like an actual tape. Here's the actual cover people will be more familiar with. And this is a really interesting thing. It says, for decades, obscure film collectors and lovers of esoteric cinema have sought it. Finally, the search is over. Originally broadcast live on October 31st, 1987, the WNF Halloween Special is a stunning expose of terrifying supernatural activity that unfolded at the famous Weber House, the site of the ghastly murders. Local television personality Frank Stewart leads a group of paranormal investigators, including Catholic exorcist Father Joseph Matheson and the prolific husband and wife team Louis and Claire Berger. Together, the experts explore the dark corners of the haunted Weber house, trying to prove the existence of the demonic entities within. Did they find the horrific truth or simply put superstitious rumors to rest? Compiled from the highest quality source material available, this Blu-ray features the full program, including the original commercials that ran during the notorious broadcast. And this has an audio commentary with director Chris LaMartina, as well as a new 2021 group commentary with cast and crew, cutting room commercials, outtakes, bloopers. Of course, this is not a real special. It came out ostensibly in 2013, but it's set up to look like a special from the time, and it's done really well. Like, if you didn't know, you would assume that it came out then in terms of the format and how the video looks and the commercials and everything. And it's kind of like, Geraldo's Vaults of Horror, just like this haunting special on TV that goes dark and crazy. So it's, like the guy from the Blair Witch is the craziest thing I've ever seen on live TV, it's fun. It's super fun. And I'm very glad it got a Blu-ray. This one's region A only. But very cool. And just in time for Halloween. Definitely the kind of thing you could watch every Halloween and really enjoy. Next up, we have from AGFA, What Really Happened to Baby Jane, and the films of the Gay Girls Riding Club. And this is, again, a really neat thing that AGFA does, where they take not one film, but they put together a group of films, in this case from filmmaker Ray Harrison, from 1962 to 72. And it says, spearheaded by filmmaker Ray Harrison, the Gay Girls Riding Club, GGRC, took California's 1960s underground gay scene by storm with drag spoofs of classic Hollywood films. What Really Happened to Baby Jane and the films of the Gay Girls Riding Club collects the joyous, ambitious, and wig-filled GGRC films on home video for the first time ever. From What Really Happened to Baby Jane, shot only a few months after the release of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, to All About Alice, the GGRC's feature-length roast of All About Eve. These pioneering DIY movies are essential snapshots of the dreamy work of Mike and George Kuchar. AGFA, in partnership with Outfest UCLA Legacy Project, is thrilled to present these overlooked chapters of queer cinema preserved from the only 16mm film elements in existence. So that's super cool. This is like Criterion stuff here. You've got this whole package. So you have multiple films here. You have Always on Sunday, 62, 8 minutes. What Really Happened to Baby Jane, 63, 31 minutes. The Roman Springs on Mrs. Stone, 1963, 19 minutes. Spy on the Fly, 1967, 43 minutes. And All About Alice, 1972, 68 minutes. 2K preservations from the only known 16mm prints in existence. 2K restoration of All About Alice from the 16mm camera reversal. What Really Happened to Baby Jane, commentary with queer film historian Evan Purcell and AGFA's Brett Berg. I'm sure that will be excellent. I look forward to that. All About Alice outtakes and reversible artwork that looks kind of like that. So again, AGFA doing great work. Very excited to check these out. I just love it when it's a collection like this, and you're discovering a filmmaker and getting to do a deep dive on their work, or filmmakers in this case. So that's excellent. Then we have for Mad Men Only. This one is from Utopia Films, and they've been doing really good stuff. This is a documentary ostensibly about comedy guru Del Close, and it's pretty cool. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I checked it out, and it's, Del Close is one of the founders of sort of a certain type of improv comedy, and really influenced a ton of folks in the Second City community, who then influenced the Groundlings, and so he's just like the guru for that sort of improv craziness. And apparently he was given a comic book in, I forget what year they say, but so people are being interviewed about Del Close, and they're also talking about the comic book and showing panels from the comic book, and it's pretty cool because they get to talk to a lot of cool people. Comedy guru Del Close, mentor to everyone from Bill Murray to Tina Fey, sets out to write his autobiography for DC Comics. As he leads us through the sewers, mental wards, and his peculiar talent for making everyone famous but himself, Close emerges as a personification of the creative impulse itself. He's a muse with BO and dirty needles, offering transcendence despite or because of the trail of wreckage behind him. And this has an audio commentary with director Heather Ross, additional extended interviews with Jason Sudeikis, Tim Meadows, Adam McKay, and more. As you can see, Patton Oswalt, Amy Poehler, I think she basically narrates it, Bob Odenkirk. Oh, man, they talked to so many people in this documentary because he touched so many comedians. So I'm looking forward to watching this. This looks excellent, and I just, again, love the variety that Utopia has put out. They put out, a couple narrative features already, and now a documentary, and they're just doing great work. This is another one of the labels, the partner labels to watch over at Vinegar Syndrome, from Utopia for Mad Men only. So that's that. And then next up we have Kid Candidate. This is from Gunpowder and Sky, who is another partner label that I really like a lot. And it looks like this is another documentary. It says, in a time when young Americans increasingly feel cut off from politics and traditional institutions, Hayden Pedigo, a 24-year-old artist and musician in Amarillo, Texas, makes an unorthodox run for city council. I'm very, very curious about this one as well. Looks fun and interesting. Has a Oak Cliff Film Festival Q&A, deleted scenes and audio commentary, plus Jeff-isms, which sound fun. But yeah, now this is right up my alley for right now, actually. Totally into checking this out. May show my wife as well. I'm digging that. And like I said, Gunpowder and Sky also doing a cool variety of stuff. They've put out some 4Ks, and now we're getting this. Just so much neat stuff coming from the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. I can't tell you, And lastly, we have one from Saturn's Core, who brought us that great documentary on the video company last month. Now, of course, I'm blanking on everything. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to school, Duck the Carbine High Massacre. This one sounds very intriguing. Got a quote from Joe Bob Briggs on the back. Before Elephant, and we need to talk about Kevin, there was Duck the Carbine High Massacre, the first feature of its kind to satirically chronicle the torment and isolation of two despondent teenagers and the events that led them to open fire on their fellow students and teachers. Trench coat sporting misfits Derek and Derwin spend their days surfing the internet, stockpiling an arsenal of weapons, and raising the ire of the vapid jocks, rich kids, and Bible study girls at their high school, not to mention their self-absorbed and abusive parents. The boys are pushed over the edge after Derwin is savagely beaten and degraded by his imperious classmates. Let's see here. Written, directed, and starring New Jersey-based filmmakers William Hellfire and Joey Smack. Duck the Carbine High Massacre would quickly become one of the most controversial films of the 1990s, leading to a nationwide mainstream media frenzy and the eventual arrest of its creators, featuring Misty Monday, Lily Tiger, Pamela Such, and a live performance by Nashville noise rock legends Today Is the Day. Duck transcends its regional SOV roots, emerging as a precursory feature to examine hot-button phenomena of school shootings. This one has a little note, if you can see on the bottom there. Note, This feature was shot and edited on video. Please be advised the transfer quality is confined by the limitations of the format. So know that going in. This is a widescreen or 16:9 133, I guess, and shot on video. So sounds intriguing, you know, especially as a precursor to Elephant and stuff like that. A very interesting cover, and that is from Saturn's Core. So that's it for the, you know, I think everything from the Vinegar Syndrome and their partner labels for the month of September. I might have missed something, but this is what I got, and I just wanted to show you guys and make you aware of what they are doing, all the great stuff they're doing over at Vinegar Syndrome through their own imprint, as well as all these great partner labels. So much good stuff, so many interesting films. I just got a lot to watch. So anyway, I got to go. But thank you, and bye-bye.